Hello and welcome to another planning appeal case study video. I'm John Peters, and in this video I will explain how we overcame a recent refusal by Tandridge Council for one of our clients. This planning appeal was to overcome the refusal for a Glazed Bridge Link Annex extension that was refused by the local authority Tandridge Council Planning Department. The client was initially booked in for a free, no obligation consultation to run through the refusal reasons that had been used by Tandridge Council to evaluate if an appeal was viable or if an alternative option would be best suited for them. The free no obligation consultation, which took around about 15 minutes, found that this case was viable for appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision process away from Tandridge Council Planning Department altogether. This case was refused by Tandridge Council for the following reasons. Due to its height, size, siting and design, the proposal would have an unacceptable overbearing impact on the outlook and amenity of the neighbouring property. It would also cause significant visual intrusion and enclosure and dominate the outlook. Therefore, the proposal is contrary. The planning inspector in this case identified the main reasons for this case were the effect on the living conditions of the occupiers of the adjacent dwelling with regard to whether the development would appear overbearing on them. Many of you who have similar refusals are repeatedly stating to us that you've had little or no correspondence throughout the application process, and the first thing you knew was receiving the refusal notice from the council, and in some cases it was actually when you received the letter from ourselves. We completely understand that the planning process can be very frustrating, the costs involved, the time it takes and so on. But do remember, we deal with this on a daily basis for others just like yourself. With planning appeals, experience absolutely matters. Our specialist appeals team, who handle over 2.5% of all planning appeals in England and Wales that are currently produced and submitted, start by producing a comprehensive and robust appeal statement that in this specific case covered 30 pages or just over 8,100 words. It's important to detail in the appeal statement where the local authority failed in their assessment of the case and how, where possible, both local and national policy applies in favour of the appeal. Additionally, if possible, bringing in similar cases that the Planning Inspectorate found in favour of at the appeal. Obviously, with the back catalogue that we have of wins, we're able to use these cases and what the inspector said in them as additional argument to support the case we're working on. Once an appeal statement is completed, we send the document to our client asking them to check that they are happy for us to submit the case. If we need to add any additional information the client may have forgotten previously to supply, it's done at this point, and then the case is submitted. It's vitally important that all documents and responses are submitted on time throughout the process, as failure to do so will result in the appeal not being successful, something we hear about often when people attempt an appeal for the first time. Always ensure you use a professional who has considerable experience of appeals. It's worth asking them for some recent successful planning appeal case studies like you find on our website. Due to the large number of cases we represent, we have a dedicated team that liaise with the Planning Inspectorate on a daily basis. The inspector stated in their appeal decision that they were able to assess the impact of the proposal from the neighbouring dwelling, where the windows in adjacent to the elevation facing towards the appeal site were. There is also an outside amenity area that is alongside the boundary, which is clearly important to the quality of the environment for the adjacent occupiers. The upper floor addition will be seen from inside and outside the property. However, this is not evident of a detrimental impact, and a change in the view would not in itself justify rejecting the appeal. The upper floor of the development would, according to the council, be 14 metres from the neighbouring dwelling. Moreover, the enlarged annex would have a flat roof and be at an appreciably lower ground level than the neighbouring property. These factors taken together would significantly limit the perceived bulk and visual impact of the addition. In consequence, there would be no undue sense of enclosure, visual intrusion or domination impacting the outlook. matters such as the height, size, design and siting of the addition would be acceptable. As a result, the development would not appear overbearing. It is therefore concluded that the living conditions of the occupiers of the adjacent dwelling would not be harmed. For similar reasons, there would be no unacceptable reduction in light levels at the neighbouring property. There would be no conflict with the National Planning Policy Framework, where it is indicated that decisions should satisfy a number of considerations. These include that the proposed development should create a high standard of amenity for existing users, which would be satisfied for those reasons given. A condition would be imposed to require the rear of the glazed link to have obscured glass. This would protect the privacy of the occupiers of the adjacent dwelling. Given the contemporary character of the host dwelling, the glazed link would be an appropriate design feature. For this appeal, an independent planning inspector from the Planning Inspectorate visited the site on the 23rd of October, and we're pleased to confirm the appeal was upheld and the permission granted on the 7th of November in a 3-page decision notice. If you'd like to find out if we can help you with your planning appeal, complete our online form on our website www.planningappealsuk.com, and our new case support team will arrange for a free, no obligation consultation with one of our planning appeal assessment professionals. Thank you for taking the time to watch this planning appeal case study video, and I look forward to producing another one very shortly. Thanks a lot. Bye.